Michael Hard.
Yet again, Mr. Speaker, I join the Prime Minister in sending my condolences to the governments and the families of those who lost their lives in the most recent tragic incidents in Iraq. How many people in the big conversation have told the Prime Minister they want top-up fees?
There are many people, for example, universities, who believe. There are many people, including universities, who believe that this is essential to widen access. And if I can say, we've had an interesting contribution to the big conversation this morning from his own spokesman on higher education, who said, when asked, "I do accept there has been underfunding, not just under the Conservative government, but in the last 7 years as well for universities." Now, if we both agree, therefore, that there is underfunding of universities, how does his proposal of scrapping fees and taking £500 million a year out of universities help either universities or students?
I don't want a minister shouting across at the Leader of the Opposition. I don't want a minister shouting. Order. It's difficult enough when backbenchers are away from me, but not one within earshot.
Let me just remind the Prime Minister, it's my duty to ask questions on behalf of the country, and it's his duty to answer questions on behalf of the government. And if he wants to swap places with me, I'm happy to do that today, tomorrow, next week, next month, any time he likes. But just for the moment, it's his duty to answer the questions. Now, he didn't really answer the first question, so let's try again. If in the course of the big conversation, a majority of people say they don't want top-up fees, would he listen to them and withdraw his proposals?
Of course, we will always listen to what people say, but what people are saying is we need to fund lifelong education. That means preschool, that means adult skills, that means higher education, and I want to enter into the conversation with him, because there is a choice before people. They can either have the proposals that we offer, which mean that graduates pay back something once they've graduated, linked to ability to pay, or his proposals. And let me read what the head of University UK said about it just a moment or two ago. The result of the Conservative proposals would be that by 2010, more than 460,000 eligible young students would be denied places at university. So, he wants a conversation. Let's have one. Is that still his policy or not?
Let's make it clear, Mr. Speaker. This grammar school boy is not going to take any lessons from that public school boy on the importance of children from less privileged backgrounds gaining access to university. And if the case for top-up fees is so overwhelming, why, just 2 years ago, was the Prime Minister promising in his manifesto not to impose top-up fees? The Prime Minister seems to have forgotten that we both stood at the last election on manifestos which promised not to put top-up fees on students. The difference between us is that I'm honouring our manifesto pledge and he's breaking his. But I want to get back to the big conversation, Mr. Speaker. If in the big conversation people say they don't want his foundation hospitals, will he listen to them and withdraw the proposals?
I said, of course we will listen to people, but we've got to deal with the facts. And he was making a remark a time ago. He's a grammar school boy. I'm a public school boy. There are lots of people actually in this country who went neither to grammar schools nor to public schools. So let's just look at their interests for a moment. Surely their interest is to be able to go to university and have the places available for people at university. Now, he wants a debate about policy. Here is the policy choice. If we want to extend the numbers of people going to university, if we want also... Oh, well, they say, what's the point, they say. I'll tell them what the point is. The point is to offer educational opportunity to all, not a few. That's the point. Now, if we're going to extend opportunity, if he admits, as his spokesman says, universities are presently underfunded, where does the extra money come from? Does it come from general taxation or graduate repayment? Now, come on in this big conversation. Let's have a straight answer for him.
The question, Mr. Speaker, was about hospitals. We've had 3 questions asked and none of them answered. Let's try again. If in the big conversation, people are really interested in this conversation, they want to know where the Prime Minister stands. If in the big conversation people make it clear that they want to say on the European Constitution, will the Prime Minister give them a referendum?
Actually got the European Constitution yet, as he may have noticed. It happens at the end of this month. But perhaps if he wants me to deal with hospitals, then let's deal with hospitals. Yes. Oh, yes. We'll deal with hospitals. We had yes. He wants me to deal with it, now suddenly he doesn't. That's because he doesn't actually want to deal with the choices on the NHS either. So let's go to the NHS and the choices. We have a report this morning on the National Health Service saying that as a result of the extra investment, we've got more nurses, more doctors, more people being treated and treated more quickly. Now, we are in favour of that extra investment going in. Here's another point in the big conversation. Is he in favour of it or not?
Well, Mr. Speaker, it really doesn't bode well for the big conversation if in this quite small conversation the Prime Minister isn't prepared to answer the questions. If the Prime Minister is not prepared to listen to the answers he gets on top-up fees or on foundation hospitals or on the European Constitution, what on earth is the point of this ludicrous exercise? Doesn't the Prime Minister realise quite how ridiculous he's beginning to look? If he won't listen to the people, why on earth should anyone listen to him?
But we do listen to people. We listen to them. Oh, yes. Let me tell them how we've listened to people. We listened to people after 18 years of Conservative government, and let me tell them what they told us. They said we wanted an end to boom and bust economics, and we provided it. They said they wanted an end to mass unemployment, and we provided it. Yeah, we're talking about the future, things for which we've got answers and he's got none. We've talked to people about the National Health Service. They say they want that extra investment going into the health service. We've got a report this morning showing people are getting better treatment as a result. Now in this conversation, small I admit with me and him, and rather closed on his part, is he prepared to commit the Conservative Party to matching our NHS spending?